Good day to you. So today I wanted to touch on a interesting topic, and it is the different types of intuition that people can have in the spiritual sense. Now, intuition, as you know it, it's kind of a little bit vague to some people. People don't really know what it means, and it doesn't always have to mean like being able to be psychic medium or like picking up on things or communicating with the dead or anything like that. There's a few different avenues of it. So I kind of wanted to discuss the 4 main intuitive types and what kind of signs that can come along with that, so that you can kind of know what your strengths are. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have a little bit of each, but they're like a muscle. Like sometimes people are born with a lot of clairvoyance in terms of a spiritual sense. Some people are more emotionally intuitive, some people are more physically intuitive, and some people are more mentally intuitive. And I will dive right into the main definitions of those. So, are you ready to get spiritual? Yes, you are. Number 1, emotional intuitive. Now this one usually comes out in people that are empathic. They have very strong emotional sensations physically, and they can kind of get overwhelmed a little bit by emotion. It's kind of an art to learn how to control your emotions. Gross. But they can detect what other people feel. They have a very strong empathy center. So if you're like in a room or something and then there's something going on behind you, you're very present about the emotional states of people around you. Like if you hear yelling, you're immediately like, yes, what's that? What's that? What's that? And you're very kind of aware of how people are presenting themselves, as well as your surroundings in terms of that. Sometimes, like when I'm an emotional intuitive myself, and when there's somebody behind me that may be experiencing some negative emotions, sometimes I won't even know, but I'll just like get a shiver and I'll be like, ooh, and then I'll turn around and see that somebody looks mad, or there's somebody in an argument or something like that. And it also comes along with having a good emotional understanding for the psychology of people. The second one is mental intuitive. Ding! And so the mental intuitives are kind of the knowers of things. They sometimes see patterns in numbers. Usually there'll be a moment of mental intuitiveness if you like think about somebody and they call you. Like that's an example. That's a very common one actually. And you'll hear that from a lot of people, but that's just an example of mental intuitive. Sometimes you'll see symbols in nature and animals, colors, and sometimes they just kind of have a knowing. Like sometimes they can just know things and you just don't really know how. I mean, that's not the same level as spiritual intuitive, where you're actually communicating with spirits and digging into the realm. It's just kind of a knowing that just kind of springs up, and that's essentially what all intuition is, but there's just different levels. The third is physical intuitive. This one is kind of interesting because they make really good body workers, they make really good energy workers. They can kind of intuitively work on people and know where they need to be healed. So they might feel pain in their hands, or might be able to know where somebody else's pain is, as well as they themselves might experience aches and pains, almost like in a way of being like empathic and empathic towards people that aren't well. And so cat scratching on the post. And so yeah, a lot of physical sensations associated with that. Okay, so my cat wants to be part of this video. So yeah, there's that. And then finally, the number 4, I'm gonna say number 4, is the spiritual intuitive. So that's like the most common one that you think about when you think about like psychics or whatever, or mediums, or people that are intuitive, are the ones that are able to communicate with spirits, are the ones that are able to kind of channel, have really strong dreams and visions. And like I said, fluffy cat hair everywhere. Yeah, so dreams, symbolism in those, sometimes angel channeling, and do you mind? Psychic viewing and things like that, and remote viewing, sorry, tea leaf reading, all kinds of different things like that. And they also have a very strong sense of knowing, but they kind of are able to get a little bit deeper into that as opposed to mental intuitive. So yeah, those are the four main psychic types, intuitive types, if you will. And just like muscle, you can learn to like master the art of these things. Each one has its own advantages and disadvantages as well. And yeah, so learn to master what you're good at. It's really good to start with something that you feel really strongly rooted in. So like emotional intuitives might dabble more in understanding themselves so that they can create the emotional boundaries that they need to be more emotionally intuitive and pick up on what other people are feeling. Mental intuitives can kind of work with more kind of mental based things like numbers, patterns, numerology. Sometimes they practice like a sense of knowing, and even in remote viewing and things like that, just kind of knowing information in that regard. Physical, they can practice Reiki, they can do even yoga poses, or they can do Tai Chi, or things kind of involving the physical realm more so. And spiritual intuitives, well, they just need to do their thing, because they just do their thing. Definitely keeping a log of things to see if there's any repetitive patterns, thought streams, anything like that that comes up is very important. Maybe trying it out on some relatives, friends, family, see how your skills are, because sometimes people have a lot of information, but it might be filtered through the mental state and the mind and the ego, which might not always lead to accurate information based on personal judgment. But those, again, are the four main components to intuition, and there might be other little things. If you wanted to add any comments or any abilities or strengths that you have, I'd love to hear about them. Aside from that, it was lovely doing this video again for you today, and if you would like to hear more about the crazy things that I have to say, you're welcome to hit the subscribe button, because you're awesome and you're cool and you deserve all the good things. And if you think that these videos are the good things, then that's great. Anyways, say goodbye. Mwah.